It's 2024. What have I got planned? That's what we're going to talk about in this video. What's up, everybody? I'm Ned Bellavance, nedinthecloud.com, and in this video, we're going to talk about what I've got planned for the coming new year, and also, I'd like to hear from you and get some feedback on what you'd like to see as well. But first, before we dig into 2024, maybe we can take a step back, talk a little bit about 2023. This is a busy year. For starters, I published 51 videos on YouTube, not including this one, which I missed the mark on by a couple days. But hey, vacations happen. Now that handily hits my goal of publishing about once a week. There were a few weeks that I doubled up, but for the most part, there's been a new video every week. I'm pretty proud about that. And tired. Tired. But mostly proud. Now, I didn't just create YouTube videos, though. You may not already know this, but I actually co-host 2 weekly podcasts, Day 2 Cloud and Chaos Lever. Day 2 Cloud looks at current and emerging technologies in the cloud computing landscape, all from the perspective of an operations engineer, since that's kind of my background. I co-host the show with Ethan Banks, who is a network engineer by trade, and we published 50 episodes in 2023, with a couple double episode weeks in there as well. Now, it's really hard to pick favorites. I had a lot of good episodes last year, but if you've never listened to the show, there's a few I'd like to recommend. Making the Most of Red Teaming with Gemma Moore was an absolute gem of an episode, if you'll pardon the pun. Also, Coaching for Accidental and On-Purpose Managers with Steve Dwyer was a really introspective episode about what it means to be a manager and what it means to have a coach. And then lastly, how did we get to WebAssembly and what is it for with Matt Butcher? Matt Butcher is part of Fermion, and that is a startup that is focused in the WebAssembly sphere. He gave us a pretty good background on the history of WebAssembly, where things are and where they're going. So if that is an interesting topic to you, you might want to check it out. There's links down in the description for all these episodes. And then there's Chaos Lever, which looks at current technology stories through a historical lens. I co-host the show with my friend Chris Hayner, and this year we refined the show a little bit. We split out the tech news stories that we always included at the end of episodes into their own standalone episodes and called them Tech News of the Week. I recently hired an actual editing team from Humble Pod, so the audio quality and just the overall quality should go up a little bit. And we switched the podcast to focus more on the historical perspective of technology rather than just picking out the latest thing in the headlines. In 2023, we published 48 episodes of the main show, and it's definitely hard to pick favorites, but here's a few that I'd recommend. We have The Hellscape Abides, all about Risk 5. There's also New Ways to Do Things Wrong, all about the RSA Conference 2023, and finally, Journey to the Center of AI, where we explore what's actually going on behind all the AI infrastructure that's running something like ChatGPT. Now, we just finished recording our review of predictions that we made at the beginning of 2023, and we'll be publishing that episode very soon. Spoiler alert, we were pretty bad at predicting the future, but isn't everybody? That wasn't everything I did this year. I also wrote a bunch of blogs, spoke at a few conferences, taught some Terraform and Vault classes, and I published 9 courses on Pluralsight. Wait, no, that can't be right. No, yep, 9 courses on Pluralsight. Now, in fairness, 3 of them were basically done at the beginning of the year. I just needed to put some finishing touches on them. But yeah, 9 courses on Pluralsight. I told you 2023 was a busy year. So what about 2024? What's coming down the pike for the channel and for me more generally? Now, since you're here watching me on YouTube, let's talk about the channel first and some of the topics that I want to cover in 2024. Now, 2023 was very Terraform focused, which I understand. That's part of the reason you come to the channel is for the Terraform Tuesday and the tacos. But I'm not just a Terraform person. I have other interests. So what are some of these other interests that I might want to take a closer look at in the coming year. One of them is Proxmox. Now, if you follow enterprise technology, you're probably aware that VMware was finally bought by Broadcom at the end of 2023. They finally closed the deal. It only took like 13 months. Now that that has finally closed, there's some drastic changes coming down the pike in terms of licensing and who they're pursuing as customers, which means there's an opportunity for other virtualization platforms to get a toehold, especially in the small to medium business type platforms. And one of the technologies that I keep hearing about is called Proxmox. I'm curious. I would like to run that in my lab, learn a bit about it, and compare it to vSphere and VMware. There's some other virtualization platforms that I've also heard about, so we'll see how far I get with Proxmox, and then maybe I'll try out a few others. That's definitely going to be a focus of this year. Another big focus, we had a whole episode on it on Day 2 Cloud, was WebAssembly. WebAssembly is definitely maturing to the point where it's no longer just for developers and tinkerers. It's time to actually take a look at it from an operational standpoint and what it means to run WebAssembly on a server. I want to dig into that a little bit more and see what the infrastructure looks like and what you need to do to properly run it. Another thing that I'm going to take a look at is an alternative to Terraform. Gasp, I know, but calm down. It's Crossplane. Crossplane has caught my attention a few times. In fact, there was a whole Day 2 Cloud episode we did, I want to say in 2021 about it. It's been a little while, but I never actually got some hands-on experience with it. So I want to take a moment and try out Crossplane and see how it compares to something like Terraform. And then getting back to my first love really is Terraform. I was thinking about maybe doing some live module development of the existing Azure modules that are out there, kind of like what Anton Babenko does with the modules he maintains for AWS every Friday. I was thinking about doing something along those lines on Friday as well. And then also, OpenTofu is a thing. We can't really avoid it, right? So I do want to maybe do 1 or 2 episodes around OpenTofu, comparing it to Terraform and what some of the key differences are if you're thinking about adopting OpenTofu over Terraform. That's your personal choice, and I don't want to get in the way of anybody's personal choices when it comes to technology. Now, what about the Pluralsight side of things? What have I got planned there? Well, I'm already actively working on an update to my existing Implementing Terraform with Azure course. This time it's going to be called Advanced Terraform on Azure, and it's going to be on the Cloud Guru platform, which is now part of Pluralsight. So I'm actively working on that course right now. I also have an Implementing Terraform on AWS course, which I'd like to update and probably bring over to the Cloud Guru platform as well. I'm thinking about possibly doing a course on OPA and Terraform. That's been a pretty popular series on YouTube, and I think I could distill it down to maybe a 1 or 2 hour course on how to use OPA with Terraform in an operational context. I'd also like to maybe do a course on automating Terraform with CI/CD and look at all the different automation options that are out there and some of the patterns and best practices that are behind them. And then lastly, I have several courses on HashiCorp Vault that probably need a refresh. I think version 11 is the last time I touched Vault with those courses, and now it's up to version 14 or so. So it's definitely time to refresh some of those courses and show off some of the new capabilities that are there in Vault. Now, beyond Pluralsight and YouTube, there is, of course, the podcast. Those are just going to keep rolling on with weekly episodes of both Chaos Lever and Day 2 Cloud. Another big thing I have planned for the year is to finally migrate my existing website from WordPress over to a static site. I had someone working on that for me. They finally delivered the repository that has the converted site. I have some tweaks I need to do, but I'm hoping by the end of January, I'll be able to relaunch my website on that statically hosted website. So it'll be a lot faster, a lot more performant, and a little easier for me to maintain. That's about everything I have for the upcoming year, but I'm curious to know what you'd like to see out of the channel. Are there some topics you'd like me to cover, some specific Terraform things you want me to dig into more, or something completely different that you'd like to see me work on? Leave your comments down below. That'll do it for today's video. I want to wish everyone a happy new year and a healthy 2024. I'll see you soon. Until next time, stay healthy, stay safe out there. Bye for now. You know, when someone told me to have a smashing New Year's Eve, I don't think this is what they meant. I'm fine, by the way. I wasn't in the car when this happened.